Hey guys, welcome to the first podcast episode on English. Today for me it's premiere, and I'm a little bit nervous, but I want to introduce Matteo Landi. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, Daniel.
Matteo, you get a question I ask all of my interview guests, and if you're on a nice evening after work session or a networking session, and you have a nice conversation with different people you don't know, and the question recognize what do you do for living? What do you do for living? To sum up.
Exactly.
To sum up.
That's a very difficult question, Daniel. Thank you for asking the first and difficult question. What I do for living? Since few years, I decided to follow my passion, and everything I do has to have a meaning to an end. So I don't simply have a job, but I try to put my passion and what I believe in what I do. So at the moment, I have a big project with the UN, with FAO, and we're trying to changing the food system and try to make sure that the food system is more sustainable, but most importantly that it's something where the young people can believe and can feel represented and part of it. What else do I do? I have a beautiful
My Chef, for example,
catering company here in Vienna that is called My Chef, and it's a very beautiful project that we have with my business partner, my life partner, and we're trying to provide very exquisite Italian cuisine. And for each meal that we cook, we try to support and provide food and education on food to disadvantaged families, so one-to-one. And we collaborate with a lot of very interesting local NGOs and organizations that work with people with mental disabilities, and Wiener Tafel that provided us with some food that we can upcycle and make some Italian fantastic.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's so nice. It's so nice.
Thank you.
Okay. And Matteo, when did you recognize the first time that following your passion is very important? Life-changing moment for you, or?
Several life-changing moments. If I have to be honest with you, I start to think of myself as a cat because I have a number of close to that experience, and every time I had one of those, I realized that. I have to do something that has a meaning, that has a purpose, and that has an impact if I want to value and also respect the chances that I was given to keep living and to make an impact in this beautiful life that we have. So I think it's been a process, but I think it's been constantly my leitmotiv, my silver lining in my life. And that's why at the age of 22, I moved to Ethiopia and I started to work at the UN at a very early age. And then even after the UN, I wanted to make some companies that have impact, and I tried to change the world as we know it. So it's, I guess, always been my passion to create impact.
Okay, really nice. You said it before, enjoying the process. That's for me also a very huge recognition, and I have to learn it. To don't went to your goals and check all your goals and do all your goals. Beside that, really enjoy the process.
Absolutely.
When do you enjoy the process the first time? And when do you recognize it is very important to enjoy the process and don't keep setting new goals, more money.
Let's start from the fact that for me, money has never been a goal.
Why?
Because if you do what you're really passionate about and what you really like, that is a fulfillment in itself. And we are under the impression that money it's a goal to reach, and there was few months ago I was reading about people on the verge of death, and interviews that were done with these people, and nobody of them ever said, "I am so happy that I made so much money," but all of them said, "I regret that I didn't spend enough time with the people that I love, that I didn't travel enough, that I didn't do what I love the most." And I think that we should learn from that, right? We should learn that even though our society is very much geared in making money for the sake of a position that you can reach, for me, money has never been important. And, I always had enough and I always made enough.
What is the feeling when you hear the word money? What do you connect with money?
Wrong values.
Okay.
And that's the challenge that I have, is that way too many people consider that, as we say before, as a goal.
Yeah.
And it never takes you anywhere, right? Because it's a goal that it's almost inexistent, it's almost intangible, and you keep searching for it and wanting, but then you never reach it. Because the more you have, the more you need, the more you need, the more you want, and so on and so forth. And then it's like
it's like an
infinite circle. Yeah. But the more you try to reach a goal that is about what you like, and and as I said, and you enjoy the process of reaching a certain place and space inside yourself and outside yourself, that journey, it's very much fulfilling. First of all, because you get to know yourself a bit better, and most importantly, because you do something that you love and something that you're passionate about, and that in itself is the beauty or the beautiful part of the journey. For me, when was it? I think it started when I was in Ethiopia, and again I was very young. I was 22, 23, and I wanted to move there because, as I said, I thought that working my family has some history with the African continent.
Okay.
And my mom was basically almost born and raised in Africa, so I felt very much connected with the continent, and I still am. And every time I go there, I feel that this is part of me. And I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. It was expecting me, but I really enjoyed the fact that I lived everything that I knew, and started to discover who I was and why I was interested to go and live there.
This was the first time you get also in touch with self-development?
I think or a little bit earlier. So I mentioned before that I'm a cat with 7 lives, and in one of in one of these occasions, I think it was 18. I had a big motorcycle accident, and because of that, I had almost near to that experience, and when I came back in my physical body, and I realized that I was given another chance. The challenge that I had is that I broke entirely my face, right? And at the age of 18, having a different face to deal with every day, it pushed me towards understanding who I was rather than how I looked. And that was the first step towards self-awareness and self-discovery, in fact, and the importance of who we are rather than who we are seen to be. And it's a big difference, right? How the people see you and how
you feel about yourself.
Correct, exactly. And it's a process that I had to go through, basically to deal with it.
Also a process?
Yeah.
A never-ending process?
And not an easy one, I guarantee you.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was a beautiful process. It took me very deep inside of me. And it also taught me how to look inside instead of
feel about things.
Yeah, and be connected with everything that is around you, right?
Okay.
And that for me has always been very important to connect with people. And that connection is not simply vocal or physical, it's also intellectual, almost spiritual, right? And there is always a connection between our brains that we still can't really explain, but it's certainly there.
You mentioned regret. Before, I do volunteering at the Red Cross in the ambulance 2 times a month because I love to give back. And a lot of old people tell me all the time, I regret this, I regret that, and whatever. How do you feel about regret? And do you regret something? Or do you live your life to the fullest? Or is there...
I absolutely have no regret.
Yeah?
I have done plenty of mistakes. I have done plenty of bad choices. But I always enjoy every good and every bad choices that I made. And in fact, the bad ones made me the person that I am as much as the good ones. And the regret would have been if I was pushed to do certain type of choice. And the majority of the cases, I was quite aware of the bad choices that, that I was making before or after. And no, I don't think that I have any regret per se, in the sense that, as I say, it's more about learning from those experiences rather than wishing not to have done it.
Are you addicted to failing? Like for you as an entrepreneur, social entrepreneur?
No, I don't particularly enjoy the failing, but I enjoy the process and I enjoy the learning from failing, and I don't shy away from failing. It's okay. It's very much part of
everyone fails. There is
continuously. It's part of the success, right? It's very much the same currency, success and failing. It's the same coin, just flipped, right? And it's the coin, the currency of an entrepreneur failing.
Yeah.
If I knew everything, there wouldn't be the need of what I'm doing. It means that it was already there. But if I need to resolve a problem, I need to get through the process of understanding the problem and try to find solution for that problem. And very rarely you get it right the first time.
You mentioned before entrepreneurship. We we talked about that. Do you think everyone can do something about entrepreneurship and founding a company and building a company, or
I think that everybody can do something about entrepreneurship, but not everybody can be an entrepreneur.
Why?
Being adverse to risk and be too much afraid of your mistakes and of failing, it's something that will never make you, at least in my very opinion, a very successful entrepreneur.
That's right.
I have seen relatively good entrepreneurs that are risk adverse and they don't appreciate or they're not ready to fail, so they give everything. But the majority of entrepreneurs, and I really have seen a lot in my life, are those that are much more ready to risk and appreciate and understand what it means to risk and to fail, rather than those that are not interested or scared or afraid to risk. I don't think that you necessarily are born an entrepreneur. You can certainly become one, but there are certain features that make you a more dynamic and successful entrepreneur. And by success, I certainly don't mean
money.
But I mean that you're able to do what you like and the problem that you're trying to resolve or to challenge in the best possible way.
I think the biggest success is if you have something you like and build around that a company, or you can live from that.
And I think that you're the perfect example, right?
Yeah, but I think that's the biggest success. I know money is important. I bought these 2 microphones, and now we can put out content with, and I buy it with money.
They're very beautiful microphones.
Yeah, but I think it's so sad that a lot of young entrepreneurs or overall entrepreneurs want success fast, want money fast. And because everyone or a lot of people are very insecure and want to prove something to other people. That's right. Yeah, I'm the best dude on earth, and everything is a process. Me with 22, I don't have as much as experience as a serial entrepreneur who has founded 5 companies, and they are all very successful. Everything is a process, and you can connect with these people and learn from these people.
Absolutely. So let me start from what you said about young entrepreneurs that need success and need it now.
What do you think about it? Yeah.
I think that they're following the wrong values, and they're driven by the wrong motive. Because I've really helped and work with a lot of entrepreneurs in my life. A lot. I'm talking about thousands, if not millions of entrepreneurs in my capacity in the UN and then as an entrepreneur, a social entrepreneur. And I've seen, of course, a lot of young people that are very driven and really pushing the limits.
Very much energy.
Correct. But I've also seen, some might succeed. The majority don't, because when you're driven by success, again, I don't think that is the real engine for personal development and success. But even those that actually make it and then continue to be an entrepreneur, there is always a shift in their life and in their value set. And the shift is not to continue to make more money. And I'm not saying that there are not people like that. Unfortunately, there are, and there will be. But the vast majority of young entrepreneurs that then make it, at a certain point realize that it's not money that make
driven from
the success, exactly. And this is not the realization, because as I said before, you never arrive. If money is your objective, you will continue to search.
There will always be one. They have a bigger yacht or a bigger Ferrari or stuff like that.
Exactly. But there was never somebody that can give you the fulfillment inside, because you're doing what you're passionate about and you're doing what you can do best, right? And when you go into that direction, and I don't mean that you have to become a social entrepreneur. I mean, I wish that the entire system would change around social entrepreneurship, because it doesn't mean not making money. It means creating impact and creating positive impact. And every company can, and in fact should, create positive impact. That's what we advocate and we push for with our consulting firm, the one that I mentioned to you, because we believe that the economical system, with just a little shift towards sustainability and impact, and arguably any company can see itself into that direction and light. If every company turns itself towards impact, sustainability and purpose, the entire economical system will change, and it will become more sustainable, more impactful, but not necessarily less economic. In fact, even better economic, because if you go to work with a company that has the right purpose and that you understand, that you connect with that purpose, you work hard. And maybe
you're
harder.
Driven,
absolutely. And then imagine the communication that you can build around that, right? Around the impact and the purpose of your company. And then investors prefer, and this is obvious nowadays, invest more in sustainable and impact-driven company, because they have a longer lifespan. They're not deemed to be extincted because at a certain point that they don't have a meaning or a reason.
And I think a lot of people, a lot of young people search for that meaningful company and for their inner meaning. And if you work for, I don't know,
let's not make any names.
A company, there is no sustainability effect. Okay.
Yeah, and then you will, if you get another job offer with more money or a better company, you move.
Yeah.
And there is no, a lot of companies, especially large companies, invest a lot in the human resource. That it's the human capital. It's an essential and a big part of their company.
Yeah.
But if you always lose your best people, then that is a problem, right? Because you have invested in your human capital, and then they just go because of a better job opportunity.
And a meaningful.
And that investment goes in the drain.
Goes away, yeah. Okay. So now I want to talk about the sustainable thing, vegan. Why you vegan? Why do you eat plant-based, or what's the why behind that? Did you wake up one day and say, so I'm now eat only plant-based, or did you learn it in Africa, or when did you get in touch the first time?
So it's interesting. It was from one day to another. It was really a process.
Okay.
And I always been a meat lover, right?
Okay. A nice steak, nice burgers.
And then, so the first thing that changed is knowledge and understanding that our body and our research for protein and certain type of other nutrients that we've always been told, or at least in my family and my culture, that you could only or mostly find it in meat, and that's why you need meat to get stronger. A real man eat a real steak. Then I discovered that plant-based protein are as good, and for some even better and easier to digest than meat. And that was the first factor, right? A real discovery that I actually don't need to eat other human. Oops, no, I don't eat any human, but any other animal or creature. But I can have a very healthy and sustainable diet. And that was the second part, when I discover where the impact, the negative impact that the meat and the fish industry have on the environment. Yeah. And this is something that we don't speak enough, right? We speak how important it is to eat a good and balanced diet, which for some includes meat.
There's a lot of lobbying about that topic.
I am very sure, because this is an information that not enough people know and not enough people are aware of. Everybody knows about climate change, and everybody speak about climate change and how important. But very few people talk about the real factors that affect greatly climate change, and certainly the food industry. And a certain type of food industry, it should be more scrutinized, and people should know a little bit better where the challenge lies, right? And of course, I understand that electric cars and CO2 emission are part of the problem, but it's certainly not the only one. And for the past 20 years, I haven't heard anything else but CO2 emission and car emission and pollution, but I haven't heard the poultry, the cow, the meat industry, and what they do to feed all these animals, right? And arguably there is going to be even more demand for meat, as China and India and other large part of our population is starting to demand even more meat. And obviously it's unsustainable. And for me, it's crazy how we need to destroy the planet to feed ourselves, right? It's a paradox. And when I think of the world that I want to pass to my kids, I don't want to give them a wall that is basically
completely destroyed,
eating itself instead of providing
back.
Exactly. And I think we should really start from understanding what we eat, where it comes from, and most importantly, why it's so good or bad for ourselves and for the environment, right? So I when I switched to a plant-based diet, and I am not very strict. I occasionally enjoy a good fish if I'm in Italy and I'm at the sea and I know where the fish comes from. Yeah. So the fisherman comes into the harbor and I buy that fish. Then I'm totally okay with fish. But I'm not okay eating fish that comes from the Pacific and
get shipped here and for the flight in.
Exactly. And we don't know how it has been fished. And also for meat, right? There is a lot of good meat that is produced in the right way and also has the right price. Because when you go to the supermarket and the meat costs less than the vegetables,
there's something wrong. I think
that equation. There is something wrong. But and I started to have a plant-based diet, as I said, and it works very well for me. And I also introduce it to my children, but without having them the opportunity to eat some meat or to eat some fish. As I said, usually with when it's good and where we know where it comes from. But no, they understand why and they appreciate because they also very concerned.
That's really nice. That's really nice. Okay, Matteo. Thank you for this session and all social links to Matteo you find in the show notes, and I wish you a beautiful day.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.